Rajat, so I was asking you about the two possibilities, the GAR concerns that persist and the global rally that we're seeing today. Which would be more dominant over the near term?
Well, I think over the near term, the GAR will be more dominant because this is very, very India specific at this point of time. If you just look at the markets over the last 1 month, since the mid of Feb, there have been a lot more India-specific concerns which have been driving down the markets. The global markets have been holding on very well. In fact, yesterday you saw the US markets moving to a multi-year high at almost all the indexes. So it's a very India-specific concerns, whether it is relating to currency, it is relating to inflation, relating to inability to pass fuel prices, liquidity, high interest rates, slowing corporate profits. All these are very India specific concerns, and then on top of it this GAR thing is again something which is a new variable. So you keep on seeing something at the macro just keeps on coming and impacting the markets, and that's why you are seeing these markets finding very difficult to move up. I think the basic difference, one of the basic thing on top of all of this, is that fundamentally we know that $125 of oil is bad for us, and that itself has created a big area of concern, and in between that you keep on seeing some concern or other which keeps on coming in, which is leading to this underperformance. So the rest of the world is rallying, but unfortunately India is right now not participating there.
Rajat, hi, morning. Nearly 17% of the FII participation in the country is through P nodes. Post the JAR confusion, can we now see heavy unwinding and booking out of ETFs? Is that the repercussion of this particular norm?
Well, I don't know about the unwinding part right now, but I think the more important part is that the new inflows definitely take a pause for the time being. And I think that is what we partly saw yesterday also. If you look at the net institutional number, they were just marginally negative. But I think they were driven more down by the sentiment that the buying flows would have moderated. Look at the Jan and Feb month, we saw almost $7.5 billion of inflows by foreigners. But the month of March, we have seen just $1.5 billion, and that may also include some block deal. So basically the flow moderation in the month of March has been very, very significant. Please note that March, which has been a negative month for markets, is on a big positive, is still on some positive flow by FIIs. So flows, just the moderating flows itself can take this market down. If selling happens, then I don't know what kind of fall we can see into the markets.
So Rajat, let's talk about some of the key spaces and what would happen, say for example, to the commodity names over the next near term, considering all that's happening globally as well. And if you can actually give me a specific comment on JSPL as well, because that one in particular has been weighed down by a lot of other concerns. The CAG report, today news coming in about they shutting down the Bolivian operations, and all the money that has gone into it would be of no use per se, or a bit going down the drain. What's the sense really on the commodity names?
Well, two things. If you look at all the commodities globally, right from aluminium, zinc, copper, etc., most of them have become range bound now over the last several weeks. When copper rallied from 7,000 to 8,500, zinc, aluminium rallied from 2,000 to 2,250. That first rally that we saw till mid of Feb, since then they have just plateaued out. That is one. Second, I think if you look at all the Indian commodity stocks, almost every one of them seems to have got significantly diluted their investment argument because of some company specific point. There are very few pure commodity plays where you can take a call on that commodity and you can just play that stock through that. For example, take Cain India, which is a pure oil play. As oil prices kept on going up, you would like to play this stock, and not surprisingly, this has turned out to be the best commodity stock over the last few months. But then if you look at the other commodity names, for example, ONGC, it's no more a commodity name. Tata Steel, you have to take call on various variables now. Same is the case with Sterlite Group. I think coming specific to JSPL, as far as JSPL is concerned, this has been a pretty good story over the last many years, where they were commissioning projects, low cost projects, and realizing pretty high ROEs. But over the last few quarters, we have definitely seen uncertainty building up, uncertainty in terms of what is the commissioning schedule of some of the new projects, and uncertainty more relating to the power tariffs. The kind of news flows that we keep on hearing in the media has created an uncertainty on what could happen to the merchant power rates into the country, and now this CAG report anyways doesn't augur well for that. So I think in periods of uncertainty you rarely see stocks doing well, and that is why that was my first point, that we need to remove uncertainty both at the country level and both at the corporate level for the markets and stocks to start doing well.
Rajat, come to you, whether or not of the power names merit a look at, because even when the market started to rally upwards, these stocks haven't really moved at all, and with the slide again, they are succumbing to more selling pressure. Does the sector still remain in limbo, or selectively you can probably look at individual stories in power generation?
Well, I think this sector right now has the maximum macro problems that you can get associated with, and this starts right from not just about the future projects that the companies would need to set up for their growth, but also for the existing projects where good investments have been made, and people are right now doubtful about what will be the commissioning schedule and what will be the profitability of some of these projects, because the underlying thesis, we should remember, till 2 years back, we never used to doubt whether any of these power projects that are being spoken about will have any fuel problem. That was taken for granted, and today suddenly all of a sudden, not just about the plants which are going to come up, as we just mentioned some time back, some of the existing operating plants also you have doubts on what could happen if all these CAG reports, etc., where to get implemented or they move further. So because of which the sector always see through a period of derating. You will have individual stocks standing out. You may have a JPL, you may have a NTPC, Power Grid, where people may hide in. But I think rest of the names which are slightly more aggressive, you will see investors right now staying away till the time you see clarity on the commissioning schedule of their projects.
Rajat, what is your sense in terms of what the central bank may do in its April policy? While they don't have enough, elbow room given crude prices and them only escalating, it is going to be a tightrope walk, because it's a clear balance between growth as well as taming inflation that they have to maintain.
Well, yes, I think we started this calendar year with a lot of optimism from RBI about doing multiple rounds of monetary cuts, and they haven't surprised, they've actually surprised positively by doing 2 CRR cuts of 125 basis point, but that can be viewed more of a liquidity management which remains very stressed. The expectations on interest rate cuts have seen moderation from earlier guesses of 150 basis points to now closer to 100 basis points. I think in the April policy, there's almost a certainty that they should be doing a rate cut. The only difference is now whether it will be 25 or 50. Otherwise, a rate cut is almost given. The difference is only between 25 and 50. And while logically people have started talking about 25, I think given the kind of growth stimulus that we need, let's not rule out 50 basis point. The probability of that remains as high.
Rajat, come to you. Two ends of the spectrum in the broader end. I mean, we've had cases like the gold finance companies which have been beaten down to death, and the consumption theme which refuses to die down. Jubilant FoodWorks, a case in point, doing extremely well. Certain other pockets in pharma like Wockhardt as well, hitting new highs and continue to do so. What do you make of, if you've noticed some substantial valuation drop and therefore a good buying possibility in certain areas, or maybe in certain stocks wherein you've noticed them going through the roof and therefore the valuations do not justify the growth story?
Well, let me break this argument on two parts. I think there are two kind of stories right now. The one where you are not seeing any interference or change in regulations. Whichever industries or companies are impacted by regulations, there is some element of uncertainty which keeps on getting building there. You know, second are companies where they don't fall under any specific regulatory framework, and there the competitive intensity of that sector within the organized segment is very muted. So some of the stocks that you are talking about, you can position them in one of the two categories. I think whichever sectors are regulated, dependent upon government policy framework, dependent upon some of the directives or policy actions, you are seeing moderation in there, whether be it large cap or mid caps. Whichever sectors are just pure free consumer stories, high cash flows, growth rates are pretty high. I think people are right now really not caring too much about valuations because they want to play the story
Rajat, excuse me for cutting in. I mean, what I really wanted to know is what's your view on some of these stories? I mean, if you do have a view, say maybe on a Jubilant, which is steering at all new highs, or maybe some of the gold finance companies.
On Jubilant, we have a neutral rating right now, and as far as the gold finance companies, we do not have an official coverage on them yet.
Rajat, how are you reading into the situation which is building up with TCI and Coal India? You can choose to not comment on the individual company, but just your prima facie thoughts, because you know the coal secretary is quoted as saying that they've not received any official letter from TCI, but the independent directors have sounded a dire warning to Coal India.
Well, I think if you look at several of the PSUs, they continue to operate in that same framework. And Coal India also falls in that same category, where there have been some disappointments, whether be it the production, etc., which has led to some change in the estimates. Otherwise, as far as the legality of these issues are concerned, I am not updated. But I think as far as the story is concerned, we continue to be positive on Coal India because we think that the underlying story of the stock remains pretty good. And some of these names, whether be it Coal India or ONGC, whenever we are recommending to investors, we are recommending them with the investment risk that comes along with them, considering that they have to take share of some of these losses which happens into the system because of the commodity price risk. Otherwise, we remain quite positive on Coal India.
Rajat, your views on CESA Goa and what the Goa budget on mining may actually mean, because now there is going to be an audit which is going to be conducted on the company as well.
Well, again, I think now CESA Goa is more a combination of various other stocks, so it may just not be a pure mining stock or iron ore mining stock now. But you have continued to see some of these news flows for quite some time relating to the mining businesses of several companies. So right now we do not have a view on what would be the outcome of this, but I think the view on CESA Goa will be a function of what is the view on the rest of the businesses of the Vedanta Group, be it cane, be it copper, be it aluminium, because all of this is now going to be just one company.
Okay, Rajat, really nice having you. Thanks for taking the time out. Thanks so much for joining in, and look forward to having you more often on the show as well.